My name is Ronnie. I'm among the organizers of the first Jewish anti-Zionist Congress here in Vienna, which has been taking place over the past weekend. I would like to ask Mr. Chaim Bershith to tell us a little bit about the coming together of the Congress and your take from the last 3 days.
We had two energetic, inspiring, powerful, and very effective days of discussions here with people from all over the world. And we're about to start 6 workshops immediately after this press conference. This has been the most exhaustive, though it was the most exhaustive coming together of Jewish anti-Zionism in the world. This is the first, but it's not the last. We are building today the continuation of the action towards the next Congress, the second one. We hope it will happen in Ireland. We hope that the ideas that people are describing and examining here will be taken up in less than a year, because we want to publish all the speeches that people have made in this conference in a special collection. We want to continue with a skeleton crew to organize the continuation of the action. Zionism never stops, so we cannot stop either.
Thank you, Chaim. Dalia, please, can you tell us about the Austrian angle of organizing this Congress?
Yeah, it was very meaningful to do it here in Austria because of the legacy of Austria. There is still the places called after Theodor Herzl, who wrote his Judenstadt here. So it's a very powerful sign that we are going to support the end of this cruel, terrible Zionism, and we started it here where it began, and we will continue, and we are dedicated to continue to do this.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Kaposh, one of the speakers, please.
I am not one of the organizers, I am a guest, and but I feel I sort of represent the memory of the Holocaust as a World War II Holocaust, as a survivor, a child survivor of it. And I represent also a group of Holocaust survivors and descendants organized in London, where we take part in every demonstration to demonstrate the fact that not all Jews support the policies and actions of Israel, and also to prove that those big demonstrations, contrary to the lies spread by the Zionists, is not a no-go area for Jews. And we are very warmly received and thanked for our presence. I am also part of the a member of the Palästina Solidarität Action, and we are demonstrating in London in one large demonstration roughly every month, and in between times also on the street quite often. And this is our activism, and I think that in future we have to just work on increasing the numbers. We already had 500,000 out last time at a big demonstration, but we want to further increase the numbers because governments take a great deal of notice of the numbers and realize the electoral implications. So that is what we are trying to do, increase activism. Thank you.
Yes, we will now hear from Mr. Ramzi Baroud.
My name is Ramzi Baroud. It's been such a great honor, honestly, being at this conference. It was very inspiring at a time that we really do need to be inspired to keep the fire going, to keep the solidarity going. I must say that in the last 2 days, I feel that there is a need to develop a new discourse on the relationship between Jewish communities around the world and their relationship with the Palestinian struggle. I think we need to move now beyond the claim that not all Jews are Zionists, and even beyond Israel does not speak on behalf of all Jews, to something else, and that is the Jewish people and Jewish communities around the world support the Palestinian people, just as it is, with no further qualification. And I do feel that we have achieved a lot of that in the last 2 days, but of course it's a start of a whole new movement. The reversal of Zionism that started in this very country needs to also, or in this very part of the world, needs to start from here as well. And hopefully we can talk about the end of Zionism, and very much soon.
And finally, Ms. Camille Levy.
Hello everyone, I'm Camille Levy Sarfati. I'm a guest here, thank you for that. I am speaking here as an Arab Jew who decided to return to Tunisia 7 years ago after my family was taken away from this country in 1957. Return can be thought as a very political act, of course, an act of repair, an act of resistance against French assimilationist post-colonial policies in colonized Tunisia, and then towards the immigrants within the French society, which is a very Eurocentric, racist society, and of course against Zionism. So return as a political act of resistance and repair against Zionism, understood as a machine of destruction, of dispossession, of colonization, that also uprooted hundreds of thousands of Arab Jews to use them as a labor class exploited in order to build an ethnocratic Jewish state on the land of Palestine.
Thank you. As you can see, this is a gathering of people of different backgrounds, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, with a clear message against Zionism and the ongoing crimes of the Zionist state, with a plan of what needs to be done in order to eventually abolish those ongoing crimes of the Zionist state. We will take questions.
My question is about the recommendations of this Congress, and if you have an action plan to move forward in future. I listen Sir speak about the second round of this Congress and what if the objective, how you want to go forward for that in Israel, in international community, in Arab world maybe. Thank you.
I think that what we are seeing here, being the first Congress, is a limited representation. What we would like to do is what Dr. Baroud has just explained, to have Jewish communities all over the world represented in the next Congress. We are starting, and they will continue, and we will help them, and we need many more communities. We have had very little success with raising North American communities. It's our fault to not have been successful, but we can do that for the next Congress. This is very important. And we need a plan not just to work as Jews and anti-Zionist Jews against Zionism, but how we combine across the world, like the South African anti-apartheid movement, together with unions, together with non-governmental organizations, together with academics, with jurists, with all the different pro-Palestine movements across the world to create a united pro-Palestine and Zionism movement now. We don't want a ceasefire. We want an end to Zionism. We want the disease finished, not the side effects.
Any other input also about the participation of Palestinians in that?
Yeah, I'm not one of the organizers, but honestly, I felt like I was in a sense. It feels like a big family, a big community, and I appreciated that inclusion. It's very clear that this conference is not about an attempt to register a position, that we Jews get together and say we are anti-Zionist and Israel does not represent us. Clearly, this is not the case. This is a culmination of a process that has started a long time ago. Some of these scholars and activists and academics and social justice warriors have been doing this for many years. This is an attempt at bringing all of these efforts together in one unified political position and moral position. The other thing is that I don't even think that we need to wait until the next conference, hopefully in Ireland, because every one of these individuals, the moment they are going to go back to wherever they come from, they are going to resume the work that they have been doing. And they are going to organize and mobilize the same way that they have been doing. So this is an ongoing process. This is not a position to be taken and then people would move on with their lives. To the contrary, this is a stream of efforts. It's been going on for a long time. It will continue as well, and is also a critical stream within the larger global movement for Palestine all over the world.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dieter Express TV. As this Congress started, Israel launched another front with its attacks against Iran. What role does the Congress play in fighting against the new aggressions of Israel? And does the Congress has any comment on the recent aggression against Iran?
Back to Chaim. You made a statement on behalf of the Congress. Maybe you would like to reiterate that.
You called it the new aggression. Of course, you know that it is not new. It's just the latest. Iran is not on its own. I mean, Israel is now sitting very near Damascus. It's controlling a very important part of Syria. It's controlling parts of Lebanon. It is getting help from the Arab regimes who are shooting the Iranian missiles down. It is getting help from the whole West. So this is not really totally new development. We knew that it is coming. Israel and the West are fighting the resistance front. The resistance front, the supports to Palestinian liberation, and Iran is an important part of it. And we knew that a major attack is coming, but there were attacks before, as you know. So this will continue. We are joining the world in condemning any attack by Israel anywhere. Gaza, the West Bank, Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Yemen. Israel is against the whole Middle East. It's against the Arab and Muslim East, and we are totally with them against Zionism. So this is not new for us, because we were there for decades as anti-Zionists against the crimes of Zionism. This is just the latest, but of course it has a potential to develop into a nuclear war. This has never happened. And Zionism, which is specializing in death and destruction, is now putting all of us in the line of danger.
Questions? Rahma, please. Can you have...
My question is...
Wait.
My question is... It's working? Okay. My question is more to Camille and Ramzi, because maybe them being in the region, they will understand more what I'm talking about and not take it the wrong way. Because especially in the region, we were always so wary of Zionist normalization conferences and panels, and they always put it in the guise of bridging the gap. Like even Blinken's sister has one called Aladdin in France, which is hilarious. So how are you going to make sure that liberal Zionists, to see something as powerful as this, because it is very powerful, don't attempt to hijack it with their liberal narrative?
How do you counter the liberal agenda?
I think the term normalization here needs to be qualified. It's very important that we define it correctly. It is being understood as certain countries that should, in theory, be the closest to stand in solidarity with the Palestinians because of shared historical experiences and geography and religion and ethnicity and all of that, are the ones who are betraying the Palestinian struggle. But I think there's more to normalization than that. It's not just normalizing with Israel, it's normalizing Israel, normalizing the idea of Israel. Israel is a settler colonial regime that exists on the very premise of settler colonialism is constant expansion. You don't expand, you die. And therefore, Israel's ambitions go far beyond Gaza, far beyond the West Bank, far beyond even Lebanon and Syria. It's a regional attempt at total dominance and hegemony. So those who have normalized Israel, they have normalized colonialism, imperialism, and Zionist hegemony in the region. There can never be a kind of a middle way of trying to understand what has happened. No liberal agenda can in any way pacify that notion. It's an extremely dangerous notion, especially as we see Israel doing exactly, it's not Israel trying to hide its intentions. The moment that they found that there are few margins open in Syria, immediately they destroyed the Syrian army's capabilities and they immediately moved in, doubled if not tripled the size of their military occupation of Syria. They would do this with Egypt at a moment's notice. They would do this in Jordan at a moment's notice. So the foolishness of normalizing Israel could actually backfire very badly in these very regimes, and we have to be very careful about that. Not only normalization is not acceptable from a Palestinian point of view because it's a betrayal of the legacy and the sacrifices and the suffering of the Palestinian people, but it is betrayal of the anti-imperialist movement in the Middle East and anywhere else around the world.
Not easy to speak after you. Yeah, I guess there is no ambivalence or ambiguity possible in this Congress. We're standing against colonialism and against Zionism as colonialism, as Jewish nationalism, as a tool for an international imperial organization of the world that is serving the interest of the West, obviously, that is also a prolongation of the West in the region. So I don't see any ambiguity possible in this. And it's probably our responsibility in the region to recreate this trust with people who have been able to deconstruct those categories that have been built by the West and by Zionism for so many decades, over a century now, building those enemy oxymoric categories of Jews and Arabs, ethno-national categories of, I'm talking about Arabs because I'm based in Tunisia, but could be Iranians, Turkish, etc., etc. The list is long. So maybe I would say that as Jews fighting for the liberation of Palestine, our responsibility now is to have a position of very deep humility, accountability towards our Palestinian partners, and self-criticism, always, to be in a position of deep listening, not, as some of us said in the last few days, to propose solutions, but to support and to stand in solidarity with our Palestinian partners in this struggle.
Questions, please. Yes. Yes.
Me? Okay.
Just one. We ask from the journalists. Is okay? Yes.
Hi, everyone. Paul Salvatore from TRT World. Honor to be here. Thank you so much. I'd just like to ask, perhaps, Ronnie, but it's also open to the rest of the panelists, if you can maybe speak to the kinds of direct action that would be effective right now or in the future between the Jewish community and the Palestinian community.
We have long talked about the need for co-resistance. Coexistence is something for the future. Once we have a basis of equality and a basis that we can build upon, then we can have coexistence. Right now, we need to resist together, coming from very different status, the privileged folks and the underprivileged folks, united in the joint struggle. And we had some discussion about that. What is the role of us who are coming from that privileged group in this joint struggle? There are different forms of direct action, but I think that in any case, and especially these days, the act of disrupting the system, making it actually ungovernable, is crucial, especially in times of genocide. I am part of Palestine Action. We have taken direct action against the military, the ones who supply the means of destruction, the weapon manufacturers in the UK and now across the world. And this has proven to be actually very effective. I mean, considering that we are acting against great forces where also the Israeli embassy and the Israeli government is colluding with the prosecution service in the UK. So they go to these lengths in order to go after activists who simply try to stop the crime that is happening in front of our eyes. We're going to the source and we're trying to stop that crime, those weapons that are being shipped to Israel to bomb helpless people in Gaza. So there is a large campaign of direct action of different forms. We can mention the Freedom Flotilla that happened not long ago, and I was there in Sicily to send off the boat along with other activists, and we talked about different forms of direct action. There was the Great March to Gaza just a few days ago, and there are different initiatives, and this Congress shows how we have to have a united front, different actions, different people from different backgrounds, but we are all united in a clear struggle with a clear aim against Zionism. Final question.
Yeah, one more question from me. You said you're planning to hold a series of conferences in the future, maybe next year in Ireland. You mentioned regarding your preparations, have you established committees for these future conferences, like financial, organizational, media committees and support funds?
Yes, we are definitely want to do that, and we are doing it today through the workshops that will be planning those activities. But I wanted to come back to our friend from TRT. I think it's very good that you're here today. Most of the mainstream media isn't here, and TRT is very important for us and for the Palestinians, because you're probably almost alone. Also, as a member of NATO, Turkey is very important in the region and in the world. And we hope that Turkey will actually do what the Arab nations have not done until now. This is really commensurate on Turkey and its history to act in support of liberation of Palestine. And I think we are waiting for that. And so we welcome you intervening on this.
I just want to add that I think those who are taking part in direct action are the real heroes of the movement, because they are putting their careers on the line, and I think it's very heroic of what they are doing. But I just want to add that as well as fighting back at the larger scale against Israel's various aggressions, we mustn't forget the fact that repression is going on at a lower level, at institutions like universities, local authorities, etc. And I think we must try and return to the fight against the main instrument, which is the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. I think the time has come to have an organized attack against that definition and stop its pernicious use at all levels.
Yeah, I would just like to add something. Those points are very important, and there is also long-term responsibilities that we all have, and I'm talking here as an art curator, art worker, and a writer. The responsibility we have to produce narratives, counter-narratives, new narratives, the responsibility we have to create a new language, an alternative language, because we have all collectively failed in producing narratives that were stronger than those offered for over a century by the Zionist ideology. And culture, art, counter-mapping, I've said it yesterday, I'm sorry to repeat, but like this massive Zionist and Western cultural production have led to what we are witnessing today, to the construction of an enemy, a common enemy, that is the Arab, that is the Muslim. And it is our duty today to produce those very needed and urgent narratives that so many of us, so many of Palestinians especially, have already produced and are still producing, but that are being made invisible and silent. And we collectively have also to think long-term in terms of how to produce stories, narratives, representations that are more powerful than those produced by Zionism. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to know if you did reach out to channels like Al Jazeera, BBC, mainstream media, and if you had some sort of response or zero response. And my second question is, are you planning also on getting together or creating alliances with movements such as the AES countries in West Africa who have managed to kick out France and American imperialism, or other anti-imperialist movements in the global south? Thank you.
The answer to the first question is yes. We have written to all the mainstream media in a number of European countries. I was responsible for contacting mainstream media in the UK. You can see that TRT is here, but none others. The BBC, Channel 4, Sky, etc., they will not be seen in our company dead. So we still have a long way to go before we can get the mainstream media involved. And I remember this as a young man, because I was involved in the struggle against apartheid South Africa, and until the very, very end, the BBC and Channel 4 and all the mainstream media wouldn't touch us, wouldn't talk to us, and would not act against apartheid. So this is not new. It's not very pleasant. We want them. We want to talk to them. We're not against them, but unfortunately they are against us. South Africa and South America, and Asia, especially Asia, are crucial for us. This is what we need to concentrate from now on to make it a global movement to help the Palestinians. We are not doing it. We're helping the Palestinians and other organizations to come together, and we think that as Jews we have a special voice, and we want to use that voice. We don't want to abuse it. This is what the Zionists are doing. We want to use the voice of people like Stephen, who is a survivor of the Holocaust. I'm a son of 2 survivors of the Holocaust. We have a moral duty to speak for the end of Zionism, for an early end of Zionism. So now we have to concentrate. Before next year, before next June, we have to have a real impact with all the organizations that you mentioned, but many others. And I think we will do that. I don't think we knew that we'll have 500 people in the audience. We thought maybe 200. Many others couldn't actually get in for all kinds of reasons, including there were no chairs and we couldn't allow more people in. So I think the next one in Ireland has got to be bigger, has got to have more investment in time and energy and, of course, money behind it. And we are very thankful to Roger Waters for supporting us so gracefully and generously so that we can have a successful Congress that we've had.
Just a quick question. My question is, how have you made alliances in Israel itself? Like, what kind of actions are you doing in Israel itself with Israelis? Because I think most of the Jewish people here are from Europe, is my understanding. So how are you connecting with the people of Israel? I know a few people who are being active in, protecting Palestinians from the settlers in the West Bank, but that's such a small minority. So I'm just wondering, how are you reaching out, or what effect is anti-Zionism having in Israel itself?
We are obviously in touch with activists within Israel. I have been active there myself. I'm an Israeli dissident. But we also have to acknowledge the limitations of acting under the boot of Zionism. Obviously, for Palestinians, it is very, very difficult to act under the boot of Zionism, but also for those Israeli dissidents, and there are very, very few of them, it is getting more and more difficult, and I would even say more and more dangerous these days. We are counting on you. We are counting on all of us to take action, to unite. And this is exactly why there is a need for us to speak together here, because there things are not going to change without the pressure that is applied here, without the concerted effort that is applied from here to change the situation there and to free and liberate Palestine. And the struggle continues. Thank you.
The three of us are Israelis, and we're not the only ones. There are other Israelis today here and were yesterday. Basically, what we are saying is we are anti-Zionists. We understand, we accept that Zionism is the disease, not the genocide, not the starvation. These are the actions of Zionism. Some people are wishing to have a ceasefire. You cannot have a ceasefire with Zionism. Zionism must go. So if that is our message, like it was in South Africa, apartheid must go. You don't negotiate with apartheid. Then a lot of people find that message difficult. I was active in the ANC in London, the anti-apartheid rather, in London. And it was very difficult to find people to work with in South Africa. You know the names of those people. Ronnie Kustrels was going to be here with us and couldn't come. But, everyone knew the name Ronnie Kustrels. Everyone knew about Andrew Feinstein, etc. So why did they know that? Because there were very few whites, and most of them were actually, I'm glad to say, Jewish. that worked against apartheid. This is the same situation in Israel. Most Israeli Jews who think about themselves as left are still Zionists. We are unable to change them like we were unable to change the whites. Of course, after Palestine is liberated, they will all say that they supported the end of Zionism. We have to work with the world, not with Israel. Those who join us are welcome, but we can't really put our energies into Israel more than South Africa. Those of us who opposed apartheid were working with the whites in South Africa. That was a lost cause. We didn't do that. We worked with the world, and the world helped South Africa to bring apartheid to an end.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that I had the privilege of having also an Austrian citizenship. So in 2015, I gave back my Israeli citizenship.
Thank you very much for coming, and thank you to the speakers. We will show a video.
By Susan Weiss. She wants to be present here with us, but she is... So I think Katie can say more about her, actually. So Susan Weiss, she's also a Holocaust survivor. She wanted to be present with us, but as she cannot come due to medical reasons, she will just address this message to us.
Suzanne Weiss. I'm a Holocaust survivor and an anti-Zionist Jew. Congratulations to the Jewish Anti-Zionist Congress meeting in Vienna. Jews across the world are proudly visible among the millions demonstrating in solidarity with the Palestinian resistance against the Israeli-U.S. Zionist colonialist genocide. Our moral duty as Jewish anti-racists demands that we pressure the governments in partnership with the Israeli-U.S. genocide to act immediately and unconditionally to stop the war in Gaza, to block the genocide, and to send the food and medical aid to the besieged Palestinians. As a survivor of Adolf Hitler's Holocaust, I was a Jew marked down for death as subhuman. In France, where I was born, I was saved by the solidarity of many individuals. Whole communities hid us and acted collectively with fierce determination to protect those fleeing the organized Nazi butchery. They believed in justice and in humanity. Zionism contorts Judaism to mean the same as Zionism, but Jews today can reclaim our Judaism and show in action our rejection of the horror that makes Palestinians pay for the crimes of the German Nazis. Today, I look at Israel's unspeakable barbarism against the steadfast Palestinians and tremble at this unforgivable crime done in the name of the Jewish people. As anti-Zionist Jews, we must redouble our commitment in the Palestinian resistance movement and work collectively with meaningful acts of solidarity that strike at the military and economy of Israel and of our governments and corporations in our home countries. As Jewish anti-Zionists, we resolve to continue to struggle with tenacity to break through the repression that silences the Palestinian voice. Palestinians must be heard. They must live. They have a right to their land, their life, and liberty. Palestinian freedom is also our freedom, and the freedom for humanity. I cannot attend this important conference of anti-Zionist Jews. But I encourage those who can to go and contribute to the discussion. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words to you today, and best wishes to the conference.